Diaz welcomes Daley back to the Zuffa fold, Melendez looks to crush another challenger, and Montreal gets set for Cote versus Starnes. This is the Fight Network's preview of all the action this coming weekend.
Hey everybody, it's John Pollock here. We've got a ton of stuff coming up for you on the show. John Randine is going to be chatting with us about Ringside MMA 10 taking place from Montreal, Quebec. As well, we'll take a look at Bellator 40 set for this weekend. But we're going to kick things off with Strikeforce as they descend upon San Diego, California this weekend, headlined by welterweight title action.
24-7 Strikeforce welterweight champion Nick Diaz is back this Saturday when he defends his title for the fourth time when he takes on 27-9-2 Paul Daley, who has won 4 fights in a row since leaving the UFC in May of last year.
Paul Daley is a power striker. I think me and Paul Daley have similar styles. Same hitting power too. If Paul Daley catches Nick, that's it. I don't care how good Nick has sick jiu-jitsu, but if Daley catches with that punch, that's it. And I don't think Nick ever felt that type of power yet. You know, so I think he hits scary hard. So once he hit him, I think that may be the fight. So I'm about to say Paul Daley.
That's hard to call, but I think Paul Daley will probably take it unless Nick just takes him right down. Paul Daley's got some serious heat when it comes to his punches and kicks, and you know, I think he'll be able to get inside on Nick and beat him.
Nick Diaz is widely recognized as the best welterweight not fighting for the Ultimate Fighting Championship. The Cesar Gracie Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt has proven to be one of the most entertaining fighters in the sport, with 20 of his victories coming by stoppage.
He's got the choke, got him back, and he tapped him out, just like that.
The crowd anticipating it here. Final 15 seconds of the second round. Hammer fist to the body by Diaz. Looks for the armbar. It's over. Diaz retains the Strikeforce welterweight title.
The often misunderstood Stockton native is confident in his fighting abilities and has repeatedly called out some of the division's best athletes.
I don't know, George. What do you say? You know, I'm saying, you know, if I was him, I'd stand up and say something. I'd be like, hey, ladies and gentlemen, I think we get this show on the road.
However, some feel that the 27-year-old Strikeforce champion doesn't have what it takes to compete with the talent in the world's biggest fight promotion. Diaz, like many, feels slighted by the system and is driven to succeed by the almighty dollar. UFC President Dana White has stated in the past that he was leery about bringing the southpaw back to his organization for fear that Diaz will continue his wild ways. As the stock continues to rise, Diaz has expressed interest in leaving mixed martial arts for the boxing promised land. A victory over his heavy-handed opponent on Saturday would be a solid indication of whether or not it is a real possibility or nothing more than a pipe dream.
I think Nick will win by knockout. Actually, knockout.
If he stands the traded ball, Paul's got dynamite in his hands, and you know it could be short for him. But I think he's a clever fighter, and he will try and outbox him a little bit. Like I say, it's a very interesting matchup. You know, obviously I'm rooting for my English friend, and I believe he can pull it off, and I hope he does.
Paul Daley is ready to crush not only the pugilist dreams of his outspoken adversary, but his face as well. The Team Roughhouse representative has some of the most powerful striking in the division, with 20 knockouts and 27 victories.
There's a left hook, and that really is his P.O. punch, the payoff punch, a left hook again. Jacks the jaw Smith, he's on roller skates, and he comes back down. Oh, and down goes Smith. What a knockout! Mamma mia!
If Diaz decides to let ego get in the way and go toe-to-toe with Daley, it could be a short night and a long road to the UFC title. Although the Englishman has improved in all facets of mixed martial arts, including the grappling game, he now has a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belt. He wants to let his hands fly and live up to the nickname Semtex. Will Daley be able to handle the exhausting pace Diaz pushes for 5 rounds, and will the champion be able to weather the early storm from the explosive challenger? Again, it will be the fans who reap the benefits of 2 colorful characters trying to stay at the top of the mixed martial arts world.
The lightweight championship will be defended as 18-2 champ Gilbert Melendez returns to the cage after a year away to take on 27-6-2 Japanese buzzsaw Tetsuya Kawajiri, who most recently defeated Josh Thompson on New Year's Eve.
I would have to take Melendez on that. I think Melendez is a pretty legit guy, and I'm excited to see him in the UFC and see what he's going to do, or see him with Strikeforce. You know, see him as part of under the Zuffa umbrella.
Gilbert Melendez has embraced the role of a true champion, taking on all comers in exciting tilts. Honing his grappling skills alongside the Cesar Gracie team, Melendez has been able to blend his wrestling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu into a unique signature style, which allows him to dictate the pace against most opponents.
You know both these guys have high skill. Oh my goodness! Melendez takes him down immediately.
An extreme confidence in his ground game unleashes his willingness to stand and brawl, resulting in high-energy encounters.
Wow! What a fight!
Defeating the top lightweights outside of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, El Nino has reached a position where he's cleared out challengers and avenged his 2 losses.
Give it up. Ishida in trouble. Melendez, ground and pop.
Thompson beginning to fade a bit.
I beat all kinds of guys, you know what I mean? I beat 3 guys now that were in top 10.
After dismantling Japanese import Shinya Aoki, the 28-year-old was granted the recognition as a top world-ranked mixed martial artist.
Backed him up and knocks him down.
I just didn't beat the number 2 guy out of nowhere, and now I want to be number 2. You know, it's what you've done your whole career, and I feel like I've done a lot my whole career, and to say I'm, I think, top 5 in the world now for sure.
The king of the Strikeforce lightweight division finds himself in a rematch against a man who mimcs his bullying style.
If Kalib wants to fight me again, we had a great fight. I think he should come over here because I fought him in Japan.
The T-Blood product arms himself with a strong wrestling base and is known for muscling his opponents.
Down, Kalib on top.
Able to use his takedown defense to keep the fight standing, Kawajiri enlisted the aid of creative K1 fighter Yuya Yamamoto to sharpen his striking. Always opting for an entertaining fight, the heavy-handed import possesses a strong chin and is fearless during any exchange. On March 11th, an 8.9 magnitude earthquake rocked the island of Japan, leaving the country's infrastructure and its people devastated. Showing the heart and determination of a true warrior, Kawajiri has overcome the circumstances, maintained his composure, and carried on with his training. With more than just a title on the line, the Crusher enters this bout with a heavy heart as he sets out to accomplish what his countrymen failed to do nearly a year ago. It's Kawajiri's opportunity to earn a North American title, a chance to lift the spirits of his countrymen and show the world what Japanese mixed martial arts is all about. A challenger versus a dominant champion with similar attributes will go to war one more time in an epic encounter.
The main card Saturday will also feature light heavyweight action when 33-1 Dream Light Heavyweight champion Gegard Mousasi returns to the U.S. and meets a late replacement in 17-9-1 Keith Jardine, who takes the spot for an injured Mike Kyle. Jardine recently snapped a 5-fight losing streak and has put together back-to-back wins since December as he enters the Strikeforce cage. 26-5 lightweight Shinya Aoki returns to Strikeforce to erase the memory of his bout with Gilbert Melendez last year and will look for validation among American critics when he tangles with 15-1 Lyle Fancy Pants Beerbomb, who is coming off the first loss of his professional career. In the latter half of the last decade, Shinya Aoki rose through the ranks on the Japanese mixed martial arts scene. The crafty grappler would impress viewers with his skill and cerebral approach. Aoki's stock skyrocketed as he filled a void and became the much necessary superstar that Japanese fans could rally behind. His first contest in the United States against Strikeforce lightweight champion Gilbert Melendez proved to be an eye-opener in more ways than one.
Crowd reacting.
After succumbing to the superior wrestling techniques of American fighters, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt retreated to Japan to reel off 3 wins via his bread and butter.
Relax and look at the lead ring. That's good.
Yotai Sitor in a world of trouble right now. And there we see the tap.
Though he is a world-class submission fighter, he would be exposed in yet another area, the stand-up department.
Here we go, second round. He's out.
Once ranked the number 2 lightweight in the world, Aoki has dropped further down the ladder and out of the minds of North American mixed martial arts fans. April the 9th marks the return of the Judoka as he prepares for his second attack on American soil when he faces Strikeforce Challengers veteran Lyle Beerbomb. A freestyle wrestler in his youth, Beerbomb began mixed martial arts in 2007 after a 6-year struggle with drug addiction. The Washington native cites mixed martial arts as his new fixation and has gone on to defeat the likes of Rafael Oliveira, Dwayne Ludwig, and Vitor Ribeiro. Despite a decision loss to Pat Healy,
Terrific transitions and a flurry to finish the fight.
the ultra-tough American remains a difficult test for anyone in the lightweight division, and his grinding style presents many dangers for the Japanese judoka.
Wow, nice guard pass there by Beerbaume into cross-side position. Very scrappy fighter, Lyle Beerbaume.
Aoki's honor is on the line in a second attempt to break ground in a new setting. He will have to reach deep into his bag of tricks if he looks to defeat an opponent with the wrestling and ground and pound techniques of Lyle Fancy Pants Beerbaume. When we come back, we'll shift our focus onto Montreal, Quebec, the site of this weekend's Ringside MMA 10 event featuring Patrick the Predator Cote and Kalib Starnes.
We're now going to send you over to Montreal, Quebec, the site of Ringside MMA 10. We're going to be carrying the prelim fights live right here this Saturday at 7:30 Eastern. And calling the action are John Ramdian and Robin Black, who check in with us now.
Thanks, John. We are standing outside of the Bell Center site of Ringside MMA on Saturday night, joined, of course, by Robin Black. A tremendous fight card featuring two of Canada's top middleweights. What can fans expect?
This is going to be a great fight. Patrick Cote against Kalib Starnes. We've got hero versus villain. We've got East versus West. We've got French versus English. And both of these guys want to get back in the UFC. This is going to be a great fight.
And with that said, let's take a closer look at the entire main card. Ringside MMA is the premier mixed martial arts organization in Quebec and has showcased some of Canada's finest MMA talent, including Jonathan Goulet, Sean Pearson, Steve Bosse, and Chris Clements, as well as up-and-comers like John McDessie, Dustin Poirier, and Alex Garcia. For their 10th show, simply titled Ringside 10 on Saturday, April 9th, the Quebec organization moves to the famed Bell Center in Montreal and have pulled out all the stops to bring together a stellar night of fights. In the main event of the evening, Patrick the Predator Cote, a superstar in La Belle Provence, faces Ultimate Fighter veteran Kalib Starnes. Cote, the popular heavy-handed pugilist who once challenged Anderson Silva for the UFC middleweight belt, will look to return to winning ways at ringside after losing 3 in a row. Starnes, a dangerous submission fighter from Surrey, BC, is perhaps unfairly remembered most for his unwillingness to engage Nate Quarry in his final UFC bout. The Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt will play the role of heel and try to stop Cote and silence the partisan crowd.
Everybody remember him as a running man in his last fight against Nate Quarry, but it's more than that. If I train with this thought in my head, it's going to be a big mistake. I prepare myself to fight the best Kalib Starnes ever, and I'll be ready, and I'm planning to put a good show for the crowd.
In the co-main event, Ringside pits a heavy-handed banger against, well, a heavy-handed banger, as Victoriaville, Quebec's Martin Stress Dieselet faces off against Halifax native Roger the Hulk Hollett in a light heavyweight tilt. Also on the card, Mitch Gagnon defends his ringside featherweight belt against undefeated challenger Rajon Gruel.
I'm very, very motivated for this fight. I've been putting my time in more than ever. I've been really studying him. I never study my opponents. I think I'll be the one, dictating the pace and spanking him.
And TriStar blue chip prospect Alex Garcia faces Seth Baczynski for the interim welterweight strap.
My main goal is to finish my opponent. Always. That always been my main goal, And I always try to be relaxed, try just to fight because it's pretty much the same thing I do every day in the gym, training. Just another guy facing each other, hitting each other, technically, that's it.
And catch the undercard live at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time on Saturday, April 9th, right here on the Fight Network. Don't forget, starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live right here on the Fight Network, it is the prelims live. In the main event, a 155-pound tilt as Zahabi MMA student Mike Ricci set to get back in the ring as he takes on London-based fighter Jesse Ronson. Mike Ricci, a very talented fighter, but the time off could be an issue. What does Ronson need to do to exploit that?
Ronson has been fighting like crazy. This kid, this is going to be his 6th fight in the last year. Ricci's coming off a knockout, not just a layoff, but a knockout. Ricci's got a lot to deal with in this fight, and he's got a lot to deal with Ronson, but he's a very talented guy, and look for a very exciting fight.
A tremendous fight card from top to bottom, and don't forget, 7:30 p.m. right here on the Fight Network. It is the prelims live. John, back to you.
Former UFC middleweight contender Patrick the Predator Cote will hope to erase a 3-fight losing skid this Saturday night as the Quebec native steps into the ring for the first time since his UFC departure to meet 12-5-1 Kalib Starnes, who enters this fight with back-to-back wins over Nick Hinchcliffe and Matt McGrath. In a welterweight contest for the 170-pound interim championship belt, it will be 12-6 Seth Bashinsky meeting undefeated Alex Garcia. Bashinsky, a member of Season 11 of The Ultimate Fighter, has also competed for the IFL and enters with a significant experience edge. The featherweight gold will be on the line Saturday as 6-1 Michel Gagnon, a victor in his 4 previous battles heading into this weekend, will collide with 5-0 Ray-Jean Gru, who made his pro debut in 2008 for the TKO organization. The main card will also feature 205-pound action as 11-2 Martin Diaz steps in to replace Steve Bosse to meet 11-3 Roger Hollett. Diaz comes in with back-to-back opening round stoppages against Victor Valimaki in 2010, while Hollett is enjoying a 3-fight winning streak. 5-3 Araj Hadin returns to ringside this weekend after a TKO victory over Samuel Guillet last November and will meet 6-2 Derek Gauthier in welterweight action. This is Gauthier's first fight since being knocked out by Dustin Poirier last June. Headlining the preliminary card action, it'll be lightweights Mike Ricci and Jesse Ronson. The 5-1 Ricci hasn't fought in a year since being knocked out by Pat Curran for the Bellator organization and will attempt to reverse his fortunes against the body snatcher Ronson, who holds an identical record of 5-1.
Saturday, April 9th at 7:30 p.m., the Fight Network is very proud to bring you Ringside MMA Prelims Live. Ringside shines a light on some of the top stars of the future by matching up rising youngsters fighting to get to the next level in their careers. With something to prove in front of a national audience, expect these young guns to come out firing. Slick and talented stand-up specialist Jesse the Body Snatcher Ronson faces off against 5-1 TriStar product Mike Ricci in a bout with ringside lightweight title implications. Ricci looked unstoppable, impressively winning his first 5 fights before succumbing to a Pat Curran overhand right in the Bellator lightweight tournament.
That is it! Just like that! Ricci is out, Curran reigns victorious!
He'll look to get back on track with a win over Ronson, which is easier said than done. Ronson will look to use his highly evolved stand-up game to try to steal the W from the hometown Ricci. Other featured contests on the card include flashy submission ace Guillaume Lamarche facing Kevin Morin, and a women's 135-pound fight with the very talented Valerie Letourneau doing battle with former powerlifting champion Julie Malafont. Join us live right here on the Fight Network this Saturday, April 9th at 7:30 p.m. for the Ringside MMA Prelims Live. Don't you dare miss it.
We'll take a short break, but on the other side, it's a full preview of Bellator 40 this weekend, featuring Ben Askren taking on Nick Thompson.
This coming weekend, it's Bellator 40. It's going to feature 2 separate semifinal tournament bouts, and we'll take a look at the preview for this card.
It's often said in mixed martial arts that wrestling is the most dominant base a fighter can have. One of the men who has made the successful transition from wrestler to mixed martial artist is Bellator welterweight champion Ben Askren. The former NCAA Division I wrestler made waves in Bellator's Season 2 welterweight tournament, defeating UFC veteran Ryan Thomas twice, advancing him to the finals against ATT standout Dan Hornbuckle. In a surprising upset, Askren utilizes superior wrestling over 3 rounds, handling the handler Hornbuckle his first loss in over 2 years.
I pretty much told all you guys what I was going to do. A few of you were smart enough to listen to me. A bunch of you doubted me, and you'll learn not to do that soon enough. Shame on you.
Out to prove he wasn't a fluke, the tournament win landed Askren a shot at then undefeated Bellator welterweight champion Lyman Good. Once again, the 26-year-old used his bread and butter to control the former champion for 3 rounds, crowning him as the new welterweight champion. This Saturday in Newkirk, Oklahoma, Askren is set to face off against Elite XC and Sengoku veteran Nick the Goat Thompson in a non-title affair.
I think I'm one of the top 70-pounders in the world. I'm gonna win, there's no doubt. You guys have a doubt? Come on.
The former Bodog welterweight champion is desperate for a win after losing 3 straight fights, and he will rely on his jiu-jitsu and his striking in hopes of handling Askren his first professional loss. Dubbed funky in reference to his unorthodox wrestling style, Askren will want to neutralize his opponent on the ground. After all, he does hold the NCAA record for most pins in a single season. Welterweight semifinal action also takes place as tournament favorite Jay Hiron, who's coming off a technical submission triumph at Bellator 35, is matched up against submission specialist Brent Weidman. Look for Hiron to utilize his superior wrestling to control the fray in hopes of finishing Weidman off with ground and pound. In lightweight tournament action, undefeated Extreme Couture product Michael Chandler takes on fellow undefeated fighter Lloyd Woodard.
A big knee and Veneer is down again, and huge shot from Lloyd Woodard. And there's the stoppage. TKO win for Lloyd Woodard in round number 2.
Chandler made short work of 19-year-old Polish prodigy Marcin Held in his last fight and will rely on his wrestling to control the contest as Woodard possesses a 4-inch reach advantage. Bellator 40 kicks off this Saturday night at the First Council Casino in Newkirk, Oklahoma, live on MTV2.
We're sending you back to Montreal, where John Ramdine, the man who will be calling the action alongside Robin Black this weekend, is joined by a very special guest.
Thanks, John. I'm happy to be joined by Ringside MMA President and CEO Eric Champoux. A huge fight card on Saturday night here at the Bell Center with two of Canada's top middleweights. What can fans expect?
A very big fight. People could accept have a big fight. Pat Cote said in the newspaper today that he's looking for a violent victory. He's been working hard. Those two guys, they are at the same place. They want to go back at the UFC. So this fight is a good opportunity for them to show that they're ready to go back.
A contrast of styles. Patrick Cote known as the knockout artist. Kalib Starnes known as the submission master. How is Patrick's ground game looking right now?
It's looking good. He's been working hard at the gym with Fabio Alanda at BTT on his ground game with his wrestling team. So he's ready for that, but for sure he will try to make this fight stand up.
Also, the interim 170-pound strap also up for grabs as Alex Garcia takes on Seth Baczynski. You said that Seth Baczynski came in weighing 200 pounds. How is Garcia, the Phenom, going to deal with the size?
I don't think it's a problem for Alex. Alex is also a big guy and is ready for that fight. He's been working out with some big guys for that fight, so he's ready for that. Like he told at the interview, he likes to give punch in the face, even if it's a tall guy.
A 155-pound matchup live on the Fight Network as Jesse Ronson set to take on Mike Ricci. We last saw Mike Ricci in action a year ago. How will that time off affect his performance?
I heard that Mike is working hard in the gym with the 3-star team. He wants to come back and gain back his confidence, but I saw also JC at Rec, and he's a big fighter, so I think we'll have a big fight, but Mike is ready for that fight.
A big fight card. It all goes down Saturday night right here at the Bell Center. Thanks, Eric. John, back to you.
Thank you.
That's all for us this week, everybody. Lots of action coming up this weekend. Ringside MMA will emanate from the Bell Center in Montreal, Quebec. And don't miss the preliminary card bouts right here on the Fight Network, 7:30 Eastern, with John Ramdine and Robin Black. Plus, this weekend, you've got Strikeforce and Bellator coming your way. Enjoy all of the action. For everyone here at the Fight Network, Extreme Couture Toronto, I'm John Pollock. Check out the fights this weekend.
There's the tie clinch. Oh, it's just feeding him. A series of right hands to the side of the head. Hammer fist to the body by Diaz. Looks for the armbar. It's over. Diaz retains the Strikeforce welterweight title. There's a left hook, and that really is his T.O. punch, the payoff punch.